to 411 T Street, Unfiltered Conversations on mental health and the issues in society that impact us all. This is where we break down the barriers and explore the topics that intersect with the challenges of modern society. I'm Dr. Milan Bray, and each week we'll dive into raw, honest discussions on the systemic issues that affect us all. We'll hear from experts, thought leaders, and everyday people offering real stories and actionable insights to help you achieve an understanding of the issues that matter most. No filters, no sugarcoating, just real talk. Welcome to 411 T Street. Today, we are going to hear from an expert in her field, Mar Introini. And of course, like all of our fabulous guests, she is a founder and political analyst blog, a political analyst blog on sustainabilityreader.com. That's a mouthful. Sustainabilityreader.com. She is also the G100 Global Chair for Networking. And a hearty welcome to Mar Introini. Welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you this morning. Did I say everything right? That's a mouthful. Sustainability Reader. Well, first of all, did I say it right? And tell me what it is.
Thank you so much, Milan. I am also very happy to be here. It was very exciting waiting for this moment to have this relaxed conversation with you. Yes, it's the sustainabilityreader.com all together. The idea is like more than 10 years that I'm working with my blog in a political analysis in a very, very, very particular way that is tailor-made blog that I did it to feel comfortable. More than the impact, I build my own comfort zone from my own tools to the tools that I wanted to give. That's why my blog is different from the rest. I don't say that is good. I'm just saying that is different because I wanted to create it for me. So that is why. And I think whenever I have this small impact, let's say a small impact that I have in certain topics, I think it's because of that, because they know that it's transparent and they know that I made it from my expertise and from my heart as well.
Well, I think we live in a very polarized world right now in so many different ways, and there's just so much going on. With regard to your blog and just even your ideologies, what do you see as the most significant issue plaguing the world today? And let me also just kind of back up a little bit and share with everybody that you're from Spain. So you're coming from a perspective, a European perspective, which, of course, as somebody from the United States, we don't often get the opportunity to hear what people from around the world are thinking and saying and what their fears are and what their values are and all that kind of stuff. So enlighten us in any way that you feel meaningful, is meaningful. My words will come out, I swear.
Look, Mila, you say, well, it's different from US. It's true, no? We have different perspective, and that is the wealth, to share the different perspective and to try to build a better world with a different perspective. However, the more we became global, the more we take this senses of global system, to be part of a global system, is when it's very difficult to say, I'm thinking this because I am European, or I think that because I am American. So when you really have a global mindset and you are open, even if you have your own perspective, but you are open to listen to others and insert it in your ideas. And I think this is when you realize that it's not about one country or the other one. And I will give you an example because I think it illustrates what I'm saying quite well. When we are talking about gender equality, immediately the example that we give is about Afghanistan. Women meeting and And many times they say, no, no, because there's violence against women. Okay. But we forget that there's violence against women in Mexico. Like it's like, I think it was last year, it was like, I don't know if it was 600 women per month. There was, you can count it in hours, in minutes of women that died because of violence against them. It's not natural causes. And we would say that in Afghanistan is because there is violence. Well, it is a different approach. So we have to be so flexible, so humble to accept everything that it would be the only way that we will become sustainable. So this idea of creating a global sustainability based in just one perspective, no?
Hmm.
I think is what is wrong and is the model not to follow. And I think that this example about women in Afghanistan, I think is a good one, no? To say, well, we need to address it, but first hear what they have to say, no?
I
So
love that. I you're 100% right. And even somebody, who does talk about this a lot, it's not something that we think about. I think we get caught in this kind of bubble, whether it's our own community bubble or our own country bubble or whatever the situation is. But even here in the United States, of course, we have domestic violence against women. In fact, one of the leading causes of women getting assaulted is unwanted pregnancies. The fact that, their partner doesn't want the baby. We have sex trafficking. We have a huge case going on right now with, I don't know how much you follow the news, but right now Hollywood is going down in flames because all of these people are coming out as, you know, assaulting minors and sex trafficking and all of these things. So this is not a new phenomenon. And I think, this reminds me a little bit of reality shows. Like we always look at these reality shows. There used to be this reality show here in the United States. I don't know if it ever got your way. I hope not. It's kind of trash, but it was Jerry Springer. And it was a very popular reality show because it had all this dysfunction. It was very, very, very dysfunctional. And I think oftentimes the psychology says, let me look at the bigger dumpster fire. Let me look at the bigger fire because it makes my life look more normalized. It's, yeah, it's bad, but it's not as bad as, right? So, but we have to clean up our own backyard first before we start, looking over the fence and saying, hey, they have a bigger problem. That's not how it works. So I love that. I love that perspective, to let people think like, hey, it's happening everywhere. So how are we going to take care of our own people? I like that.
no. But this is the basis, not only at the society, also at individual level. You see
Yeah.
that the most we navigate in social media, the more judgmental we became. No,
Oh.
everything judging. You are judging. This is, you like it or not. This is wrong. But for example, what you were referring, which is happening in Hollywood with Didi. I imagine that you refer to that. So yeah, yes.
It got all the way to Spain. Wow.
Yes, yeah, no, and all they were. So for me, it's just that we came to a time where the truth is coming, and when we have covered and hidden for so many years, trying to behave that everything is a perfect model, and so we could educate others of how they should live. And this is a manipulation, and it's a political manipulation. I don't say political partisan manipulation, but it is a political manipulation to create the idea that you are in a perfect society, so the other ones are wrong. And so for the first question that you asked me, that about the topics that I identify, no, for example, polarization, for me is ideologies. No, we
Mm.
need to try to make a bridge with the different ideologies, because ideologies now became in everything discussion. So this political game, where you have a political party that is supposed to further an ideology, but then you see that they don't negotiate in anything because they cannot say yes to another ideology. So I think this is the real burden, no? So any of us have the right to have different models of society because they came from an ideological framework. But then at time to settle conflicts, as for example is happening with Ukraine and Russia, we need to put aside the ideologies and go for the first goal: stability, peace, harmony, and then the rest. You know? So when you don't reach the minimum standards, this is what happened: the chaos.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I'm going to break it down even more simplified. You know, when we talk about things like nonviolent communication, when you get to the root of, and not even just political issues, you know, Ukraine and Russia and whatever else is going on in our own selves, when we are fearful, when we have judgment, when we lash out at the world, there are two foundational things, and you mentioned them, but I'm going to simplify them a little bit. It's stability and security. When we don't feel stable, when we don't feel secure, it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's that foundational layer that says, I can't build on anything else because I don't have what I need. And I think there are a lot of people in the world that really don't feel stable or secure. And then we have this other thing in psychology we call confirmation bias. So we surround ourselves, we look at things that confirm all the things that we believe, whether it's our family, whether it's what we're watching, whether it's what we're listening to. And all these things keep telling us that we're right and that we should be afraid and that we should have these misguided ideologies. And it makes it harder, to your point, to think about what else could be possible. And it's very, very dangerous when political leaders, as you said, it's extremely dangerous when they get locked into these very nefarious ideologies, and then they go out into the world and they say, not only is this how I believe, but I'm going to make everybody else believe it. And, it becomes almost cult-like behavior, and it doesn't move the needle forward. And it takes us even further out of, what we ascribe to be our foundational values. And in this particular country, we, and in your country too, there's the Catholic ideology. You're rooted in that Catholic ideology here. It's a Christian ideology, but whether you're Catholic or Christian or Muslim or Hindu or Buddhist, those foundational values of love, truth, peace, right conduct, and nonviolence they all the way across. We all have do unto others as you would have, done unto yourself. Be kind to your neighbor. It doesn't matter where you come from, but we get so lost in the illusion of what is going around us. So yeah, anyway, it's a lot going on. So
Now, but it's great. It's great what you are saying, especially when you say the framework of security. The people don't feel safe, but instead of trying to fight for their stability with proposal, with creativity, instead of that, they rely on others to guide them, and this is terrible dangerous. And the most dangerous is it comes when it is taken by the private sector. And you see that social media, for example, Google, Facebook, they are taking their own ad hoc tribunals. They decided what is ethics or what is not. But this is a matter of public sector. This is part of the tribunal. So we are given our life to also to the private sector with no much transparency and not very good accountability systems.
absolutely.
So one of the main points that I address in my blog and in all these years, because I am fighting, and we don't move forward on that, that is, we cannot set a global standard of global sustainability, sustainable development goals, and at the same time, we don't have any resources to say we have a global transparency and accountable system. We do not have it. and the kind of leadership we have been in the leadership summit, and that was something that we say we need to change the leadership. Not only the type of leadership to become more attractive. It's not a matter of marketing, because they are changing in terms of marketing. We need to change it in a way to give power to the roots of what is democracy. That is us, is you, is me. This was really have to be empowered,
You make such a great point. There was a documentary, and I can't remember what it's called, but it was about social media. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, and they do talk a lot about that in that documentary, about how the algorithms they give us more of the same, right? So, and there is no accountability because it's all about capitalism. It's all about selling products. It's all about pushing the narrative forward. So, and there's so much information on the internet that is not fact checked. There is absolutely no accountability. So people are just reading this garbage. And, I talked about this in another podcast that I did with someone, about how it's the rule of five. Like, we become the company we keep. And when we keep social media as one of our friends, the thing that I was telling Mar, before I always lose my phone, and she said that's a good thing, and I'm like, it is a good thing, because I don't want to be beholden to the pings and the garbage that come through, because it starts to change our neurosynaptic connections, and we become very, very, very intoxicated, and that's how our thinking becomes. Whether it's the movies we watch, whether it's the social media, it doesn't make any difference. Like, it is changing us from the inside out. And to lean to another point too, I think we're constantly looking for someone to blame for our problems, for our lack of funding, for our relational, whatever. That's why I got out of psychology, because people came into the office and said, hey, I have this problem with my husband. Let's talk about how horrible my husband is, right? Instead of looking at themselves and saying, hey, what am I contributing to this? How am I not aligned with my values? How am I not aligned with what I need to be doing? And I think this even leans into what you talked about leadership. And we talked a lot about this at the summit that we were at together. We have to have leaders and people out in the world who are willing to look at themselves and say, how can I be different? How can I change my thinking? How can I move my needle to a moral compass that points north? And I don't think we have that around the world. I think there are just so many people that have this narrative of how can I, and we see that in the United States, how can I benefit off the backs of the people that I serve, as opposed to how can I serve the people in a space of values and moving us forward as a community, not to benefit myself. But the question is, Mar, how do we find leaders like that? You mentioned we need more great global leaders, but keeping that moral compass, keeping that needle always pointing north it's not easy. It's not easy for any of us.
I think that yes, it's great what you're saying, especially because you inspire me to think about. We are moving towards a standardized, not only products, but also standardize what is considered normal. So you had to be normal, and this is terrible because it's fixed, it's mediocrity. Because when you are normal means that you are yourself. As if you are yourself, we are all different. Just for culture, for religion, ideologically, physically, we are all different.
Yes.
However, if you look, just a quick look in Reels in Instagram, and everything is the same. The model of beauty is the same. So I really welcome when for example, the last, catwalk from Women's Secret, that they were.
Oh yeah, yes, yes.
Like, yes. And there was Carla Bruni that is more than 50 years old. There was other model that is an XL size. So I welcome that, but that's not the rule. No, and when someone wanting to be inserted means that they cannot be strong. They cannot keep their safe space, this personal space. They cannot like you be free to lose their iPhone. They have to keep it with them and to reply immediately to attend the expectation from others.
Yeah.
So I think that we have a problem of being trained on how to use social media. And this have to be in an early stage, in educational level, at the educational level, to say to teenager, look, be yourself, don't try to be inserted, don't repeat what others do. And to build creativity is something that there's no a good education in that. And people are scared. I think it's scary. There's nothing they're worried, they're not concerned, they're scared to be themselves. And I think it's time, because we are moving very fast on what is technology, but we are not moving very fast on what is creativity. You could have a farm, a very small farm, and you are plant tomatoes, and you do it in the same way as in the Middle Age, and you will to achieve the goal. But if you are really creative, maybe you have tomatoes of different colors. Maybe you introduce technology. Maybe you have a robot. Maybe you have marketing, or you do a training to do it in a very special way, or you compete with your tomatoes. You are giant tomatoes. No, So to be creative, there's no anything that you do. It could be considered simple if you insert creativity. And I think there, and I leave it with this. And there we have a problem of mental health, because if you are not creative, if you are losing yourself, diluting yourself in social media, we enter in a mental health disease.
No, 100%. And I think all of what you're saying with regard to people losing themselves, people not feeling comfortable being themselves, losing creativity, as you already said, this all comes down to education. And we are continuing to push education in these very, very antiquated models, which is why, and I've brought this up many times before, Finland has such an amazing model, because they really allow children to get out, get back to nature, choose what they want to be. There's a freedom in their education system, and that's why they're doing so well. Children are children are naturally kind of mean, and we imprint on them as adults and parents and communities what our beliefs are, what we think, all of those kinds of things. So we're not even really allowing them to have free thought, because we are, as humans, we're so predisposed, not all of us, of course, to getting people around us to think the way that we think, and that includes our children. So we don't even give them a fighting chance. Kids, if you watch kids naturally out in the wild, they don't see color. They really genuinely don't. We can say that as adults and then we're just racist, right? But they genuinely don't see color. They look at a little white boy and a little black boy playing together. They're just children. They don't really, they see that the skin might be darker, but they're not identifying that with anything. It's not like he's black, I'm white, it's not that. It's just, his skin is darker than mine. And they don't identify it until we start to put those words and those narratives in their head. And I think between the stuff that goes on with the parents and the education system, I don't know how we change the parents, because people have the ideas that they have. And if they're not willing to look at, it goes back to, are you willing to look at yourself? Are you willing to say, hey, you know what? I might be wrong. There's a possibility. Let me just kind of noodle that a little. But I think this has to go back to very, very early education, where we are teaching kids these very foundational values. And when I say values, I know some people, and I've literally had someone say this to me, who are you to teach my kid values? And it's like, well, I think if we lean into the idea of love, truth, peace, right conduct, and nonviolence. And we look at those from a very simple perspective: love, kindness, compassion, empathy, service to others, volunteerism, unconditional. I don't know too many people who would go, nope, 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 that is not love. That would be weird, right? Like, I think we can all agree that love has those components. And with regard to truth, truth is either you tell the truth or you don't. We've put it in this kind of gray area. Well, there's some things that we can lie about, and no, if we really love someone, we have respect for someone, we should be able to say anything. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, right? So, there's some foundational components, and I think we really, really have to go back to that and get children, I don't want to say indoctrinated because that sounds very culty. But I think you know where I'm going. Like, we really need to embed that into the fabric of their being, learning nonviolent communication, helping them understand that, conflict, again, going back to what I said, is about fear and insecurity, and helping them have those words to understand, hey, I feel disrespected, I feel disappointed. I feel sad, and being able to articulate what those things mean. But I think we have this global issue all the way around, no matter where we are, where people just are not even able to effectively understand and embrace their own feelings. And this is also leaning into these mental health issues and domestic violence and drug addiction and all of these things. People don't feel seen, they don't feel heard, they don't feel understood, and mostly they don't understand those things within themselves. So this is a systemic problem, and it's bottom up, top down. Like it's you know so the challenge we have then is, how do we, again, kind of circling back to this question, if this is a problem, how can we trust our leaders to not lean more into their own traumas and into their own ideologies that are based on, rooted in generational trauma, based on the rhetoric that they have been indoctrinated with, whether it's social media, whether it's the people around them, the sycophants. Like, how how do we get out of this mess, Mar?
Well, I think to put it in words less dramatic and more optimistic, I think we have always in history have fight back to what is mediocrity. And not all the people hold the strength, the courage to say, I will not enter on this. This is not for me. So when you are saying, well, we need to go back and tell them that is your values, maybe the correct narrative could be, you don't have to lose your values to be inserted in the society. So just be prepared to close the door when it's not for you. No.
Yeah.
So I don't think that anyone will succeed in any field if they don't keep that personality. And also I know that is take it negatively, to say, well, so this is a narrative in individualistic way, but I defend this part, but because when you are so much bombing with negativity, you need to be to grab from that power of individuality. You need to defend yourself, and the value, the how much you weigh in the planet, you will be on earth, you put your feet whenever you stand for your values, and you have to be skillful to know to negotiate when you could claim for that and when not. But of course, we need to put limits, and we have a problem with limits. And when you are talking about the leaders, maybe you have very high expectations, the same as most of the people. They have high expectations, and they need to reduce that. They cannot expect that the political sector or the public institution, the golden age for the public sector is gone. We could recover, but it would be a different stage with different rules. Now you cannot rely on that. There are so many lobbyists, there are so many political agendas that go against the society.
Mm,
So the conflict that you see in the armed conflict, they're not thinking on the civilians. They're not thinking on the freedom of individuals. So they are thinking on other interests. So I think it's time to recover that, to recover and use artificial intelligence and social media, use it for a purposes, not just to navigate lost in a turbulent sea, so just to keep the guy, your own guy, so not to be afraid, so and you say, to be fearless. No, I think this is the idea, because it's scary what's happening. So I think this kind of community with She 100, we are allowed to do that, because networking, if it's the correct use, it could be a handicap or it could be an asset. It depends on how we use it. And I think we have, as global chairs that we are from She 100, we have that mission also, to guide the people to say, well, express yourself within these rules, be yourself within these rules. And we did it. I think we are making, to try to relate, that women could relate to each other in a harmonical way, without competition, without, yeah, as you say, the first, no, let's have a flexible conversation, a relaxed conversation, and not trying to compete as is happening, because social media push you have to compete. You have better, you look beautiful, and you have a new car, and so let's, everything could look beautiful if it's just transmitted in the correct way.
but do you think that some of these things kind of happen in a vacuum? Because there's a lot of organizations out there that are doing great things. I mean, there are kids out there doing great things. There are adults. There are a lot of people doing great things. And as somebody who lived in Spain, you have similar news cycles. You talk about the bad stuff, right? It seems though, as I observe, we have more in the news cycles and the things that are shared. There's more inclination to share what's negative, and people seem to be less interested in what's positive. Part of that is how we've trained our brain, right? We need more and more what's the word I'm looking for? Exaggerated content. We get very desensitized, is what I'm trying to say, to things like violence, because it's, and sex and all of those things. And I didn't grow up like that. I don't know how you grew up, but we didn't really have that on TV. That wasn't a thing to see sex and violence. I mean, you saw it, but it was like a slap, or a kiss or something. Yes, I'm aging myself right now, but
No.
accepted worlds. But
Uh-huh.
but we weren't seeing those things. We didn't have access to porn and all the OnlyFans and all this craziness that's out there. And so again, there's a lot of good things happening, but it's like it's a bigger I feel like it's a bigger challenge now to present ourselves in this, I don't want to say wholesome, but you know what I mean? Like doing the good things, like the yay, as opposed to the nay. So, how do we keep, again, I go back to this, like, how do we keep our moral compass? How do we shut the door, as you say, to the things that don't align with us? Now, this goes back to, again, what I believe is being rooted in really foundational values and being able to say no. But not everybody, I have days where I'm just like, okay, uncle, you win. I can't,
You give up. You
I
give up.
can't, I
Yeah.
can't.
No, but Milan, I think it's not what you see, is what you perceive.
That's true.
It's it's not the negativity that is around you. Is the feeling and the reaction that you have to that. You could see all that you're describing, and you keep your stability and your balance. It's challenging, and the more negativity there are, the more challenge you to keep your balance. That's why I think we need to create these kind of communities, and we need to force also the public sector is more difficult, but the private sector also to help on creating harmonical societies when you could keep calm despite all the chaos around you.
Hmm.
So I'm not. I will give you. You will allow me, please, to give you a complete different perspective. No, and I will give you with an example from my life. No, if someone asks me what was my inspiration to run what is the my wing global networking in G100, or what is my inspiration for my blog, one is positive and one is negative, and both they are inspirational. When in relation to my blog, what is art, sculpture, all my articles are based on a photo that I have taken when I am traveling, if I am in the forest, or digital creations that I done. So this is my inspiration, go to a museum, a painting, a sculpture. I love the open air sculptures in the open air. So I always take it from there. So it's all positive because it's a passion for architecture, or for art, for design. So I use it for my purposes. For G100, it's completely different because I get inspired from the negativity from many women, and the disappointment I get. I try to build new way to run the win, new types of event, different message. So how we could be solidarity. So first, instead of trying to fight, well, gender equality, so what men are doing it, instead of that, to say, let's see how women together, how we could do it, and how we could send the what is the lessons learned from years and years of disappointments, of frustration, of what is to cohabit with women in competition terms, so, and for me that is all negativity, but it's a way I channel. Instead of getting things to say, well, I cannot run a community of women because it's impossible. Many women say that. I don't know. They tell me, I don't know how you could lead that. It's horrible. No, they're fighting to each other. So, okay, this is only inspirational because every day I learn something new. And I guide and move and change the strategy according to that, and most of the time is negativity. So I've been pushed by negativity. So an optimistic message from negativity.
I love that. And that's really how I think anybody, it's the attitude. This doesn't exactly work, but I think you're going to get where I'm going here. It's an attitude of gratitude. Find one of the things that I say oftentimes, listen, I see the negativity, I see the positivity. I have my Mercury is in Libra. I can see both sides.
Ah.
Um, anyway, the most beautiful flowers grow from the stinkiest, most disgusting compost, right? I mean, if we can remember that, if we can find gratitude in the spaces in between, and understand that with everything that happens to us, there is opportunity. The worst thing that you could think to happen to you, there is opportunity, even if it's a reflection. I often even say that when the hammer comes down from the universe, it's because you haven't listened to the message. And within there's an opportunity to say, okay, I'm ready to change. Of course, there's a beeping sound behind me. I don't know if you can hear that. Garbage truck. So, uh, there's an opportunity in everything. The garbage truck, it's just this great background music. Just kidding. Yeah, so there's opportunity in everything. And I think you're right. It's a mindset. It has to be a mindset. We can choose to see everything around us as, crumbling, or we can see the light through the cracks. But I do think, Mar, that a lot of this also comes down to where we are emotionally and mentally. It's a little bit harder to see beauty when you can't eat, when you're struggling to put your lights on, when someone you love has passed and you're grieving. There's some, it gets a little bit more challenging.
I would like, so sorry to interrupt you, but
No,
I
please.
love what you're saying, and I know that it looks naive to say that you have to see an opportunity, but I could guarantee you that my strategy and action plan is based on negativity of all the negativity I'm seeing. And I would like to add of what you are saying that you know that is the happiness index. Now that they measure the happiness of the citizen of each country. And if you look at it every year, you realize that happiness had nothing to do with the economic level of the country.
It's true.
So there are many countries that we consider poverty depends on the dollar, no, per year, the income per day that they have. I think is $1, to
Yeah.
consider that not in poverty, less than $1 20 or something like that. It could be considered in the poverty line. But even countries with very low levels of income in terms of the daily income, even that they were in a very good level of happiness and they consider themselves happy. So there has nothing to do clearly through that index. They had nothing to do with as you say, no, because you were saying, well, it's not easy to see beauty if you are, it's a poor country or they don't access
Oh,
to
no, I
shelter.
didn't say if it was a
Good.
poor country. That is no, 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 no,
What
no.
has been done?
What? Yeah, because I 1,000 billion% agree with you. I think poor countries, not all, not all, but I think poor countries do have a higher. I mean, Finland is not a poor country, so let's just start there. But I think there are some poor countries, and they have a high happiness index, which is why I reference them. But I 100% agree with you because um, so this comes down, Mar, to the fundamentals of what a high context culture and a low context culture. And when we talk about a low context culture like the United States, where we are very autonomous and individualistic, and so it's all about me and how how do I benefit? How do I where when you have a high context culture, it's we. And I think the difference between that happiness index, I 100% agree with you that what you're saying, but I think that also comes down to family infrastructure. Harvard did that 75-year study and it had nothing, happiness had nothing, and life quality had nothing to do with your job or the money that you made. It had to do everything with who you surrounded yourself with, how you were embedded with your family, who were your friends. Yes, 100%. I know this to be true, but I think I'm just saying that sometimes, especially in low context cultures, when you're so focused on what you think you need. I don't have the latest iPhone. I don't have the best car. But I think, that becomes, a mental issue because that goes back to what you were saying with regard to social media, trying to dictate what we need to be and who we need to be and how we need to look. We need to get off of our cell phones and our technology and just live our lives, right? But that's probably not going to happen. But I do, but there are some very systemic things that go along with really trying to pull yourself out of it. And just as a personal story, last year I lost the love of my life. Now, I mean, she was my daughter, she was my best friend, she was my ride or die, she was my dog. And some people would be like, a dog? She meant everything to me. And I can tell you, it was really, really hard for very, very many months. That's not a proper sentence. For for quite a bit of time to really pull myself out of it and see anything. I was so lost and grieving so hard. So it was, for me, when people would say, oh, but look at it this way. I was like, no, no, I'm not. I'm not not going to look at it that way because I'm in pain right now. And so we do have to honor people and the things that they're going through. But and I know that mental health and grief and hunger and all of those things are very, very real for people. in whatever capacity that looks like. Did I pull myself out of it? Yes. Was I able to see I don't want to say beauty, but was I able to see the good that came from it? Yes, but it took time, and not everybody can do that. They wallow in their pain. But again, I think it comes down to the difference between what is a high context culture and a low context culture, and how some people just naturally come together as community and who naturally have that embedded ideology that says, like in South Africa, they have the Ubuntu. We are better together. But that's not always how every country plays itself out. So I do agree with you, but I just wanted to make sure that you understood. I wasn't saying poor countries aren't happy, because I know some of the happiest people in the world are they get their dollar a day, but they're living their best lives, because
No,
they've
I
got
understood. Yeah,
family.
yeah. Milan, I understood you perfectly well. It's just that I wanted to highlight that.
Yeah, no, you're
Because
100%.
I think
You're
it's so important that, for example, northern countries and Finland, Norway, they have very high levels of suicides. The rates of suicides are very, very high. So,
Really,
so
that's very
yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
And
it's quite,
what
yeah.
is what is the reason? Because they have such a high happiness quotient. Is it the
It's supposed,
darkness?
it's a, no, well, they say that, but if you have lived your whole life there, I don't think you are going to get suicide for
Lack
being
of
in your,
vitamin D?
well, just, this is the level of frustration and the way you manage with yourself. So we need to deliver tools for the people to feel at home in any place. So and we have this tool, this magnificent tool to connect with others. So this they say there are so many lonely people. They say that is one of the biggest disease in the world. And I
Yes.
say, so we have the most important disease in the world, loneliness, when we are most connected with the iPhone, with the television, with the computer. So there is other problems. So we have resources. We are advancing too fast in technology to become more communicated, and then we feel more lonely. So the problem is from us. And the way we take the way we use that tools that are created to not to be lonely.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I think more, I don't, they say, I don't remember. I'd have to Google it, but I can't remember exactly the number, but they say that the average human needs between, what is it, 6 and 8 hugs per day. Like, we need touch. And these are studies that they've done with babies. Babies cannot thrive and survive without touch. They've done so many studies with, back in the day with orphanages. Harlow had his study with monkeys. Like, we need physical connection. So while we are technologically connected and we are having this conversation, and I can see your face at the end of this, I can't really, we're connecting, but it's a very superficial connection. Like, I can't give you a hug after this. We can't go have a coffee after this. Like, it's like a one and done kind of thing. So I think there's some basics that really need to come back, and I think that's why kids are, especially these days, are so lonely and disconnected, because they're not getting out. They're not having those physical interactions. They're not able to read. I can only read your body language from here up. I don't know what the rest of your body's doing. I don't know if your legs are crossed or your arms are crossed. Like, there's a whole picture that has to come into place so that we can really understand not only how other people are feeling, but how we can interpret that and how we can uh, modify ourselves, right? So I do agree with you that we are more connected than ever, but I think we've also lost some of those very foundational components that we just need as humans. And your country especially. how do you greet somebody, right? Kiss,
Yes.
that wouldn't that that's your thing. It's how you roll up on people. That's but you don't have we didn't do that when we started this conversation, so
Yeah. And the French give free kisses. So one, two, and free. And so
I
I always get stuck with the French because I do the two one Spanish way, and I get like this, So the person get like stuck.
have you ever had any end up right on the lip because you were just like, oh, hey, whoa.
Yes,
That
this is
third
too
one
much,
really, yeah.
so no, but it's true what you're saying. The physical contact is important, but also when we need to build the framework,
Yeah,
because if you make the physical contact, but your framework is this bubble, as you have mentioned before, so it's the same.
yeah,
It could be frustration. It could be a fake. No. So I think we need to recover this honesty, this honesty with yourself, to be yourself, and many people are scared to be themselves because they will not react. What the people will react to that if I say that I don't want to go to that party? No, but other people are going. So no, so well, we need to. I think we need to help, especially us that we are active in social media, to create the correct message to say it's okay. No, if it's not okay for you, it's also okay. And we need to accept it, becoming more democratic. So it's not for political; it's also for respect to others. And this is something that we could make it, and from the civil society. And G100 is a community from the civil society that I think we need to have that mission to help the people to be themselves and to give value for themselves. If you are fat or not, if you have surgeries or not, and don't use filters. Just be yourself, and try to. If not, you are running. You are running in a lane that is not yours. And I think this is what happened. The people don't find their own lane and start riding their bicycle or running by their own.
yeah, I agree. And I could not have said it better. So we're gonna leave it at that. I think that was a great summary for um for this message that we've talked about. And obviously we covered a lot of different things right here, but I think, it really comes down to, be yourself and love yourself, be happy with yourself, find a way to find that joy from within and connection. Make sure we're connecting with groups like the G100, with our communities, get out there, volunteer, um, support each other, love each other. That's the only thing we were ever meant to do here. That's it. Love and be loved. That's
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
So I'm going to wrap this up here. Before I do, can you tell people where they can find you? And I will also put this in the text box for people to see, but just give a brief shout out to yourself and where people can find your work.
Well, thank you so much, Milan, for this brainstorming that we have done of Global Challenge. And well, you can find me on my blog on political analysis, and that is the sustainabilityreader.com. You could also find us in at G100 Global Networking, Facebook, also in LinkedIn, Mar Introini, at Mar Introini. And also we have our YouTube channel, where we have different conversation from sustainability to networking to equity. We have it in Portuguese, in Spanish, and in English. So, and of course, if you wanted to join our community, you are very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for tuning into 411 T Street. Remember, transformation isn't just about one moment. It's about gaining clarity and understanding that develops meaningful change and brings us together. And if today resonated with you, please subscribe and share because inspiring moments create movements. If you can feel it and understand it, you can change it. Thank you again, Mar. I appreciate you today. Thank you for tuning into 411 T Street, where we spill the tea on the stories that matter the most. Transformation isn't a single moment. It's the clarity and insight that drives meaningful change and connects us all. If today's episode struck a chord, hit subscribe and share. Let's keep these conversations flowing and inspire real movements. 411 T Street. Get the info, spill the truth, spark the change.